Is the meeting there on time? Hello?
Hello, Brij Mohan, any query?
Yeah, no, actually, I don't have query at the moment. So yesterday only I joined the course.
Yes,
So
yes.
I had to see things in detailed layout.
Yes.
I thought since some other people might have a query, or you might want to say something
Yes,
addition to the whatever is in the
yes,
course.
yes. I will take the class today. So what
Great.
today I will do is 1 hour I will approx 1 hour I will try to give the summary of the 5-6 weeks that has been covered for the first semester. Sorry, first assignment, and rest I will try to solve some questions. Okay.
Great.
Okay, so I am actually waiting for everyone to join. Very few participants, actually 4 are there. So can we have the introduction of the other three? Brij Mohan, can we start with you?
Yes, yes. I am. My name is Brij Mohan. I work in Mahindra and Mahindra in its Stafford division, and
Okay.
I want to learn basics of things. That's why I joined the course. I'm
Okay.
not sure whether I will be able to give exam or not, but fine. Let me learn through, sit through in class, and learn things what is happening in the grassroots level.
Yes, yes, sure. So it's not mandatory to give the exam. Even you can learn the course. I have also started my career with NPTEL courses only. So it is fine. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Neha, can we have an introduction?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Yes, please proceed.
Myself, Neha Puri. I'm from Kolhapur, KIT College of Engineering. I'm pursuing my BTech fourth year, and our project title is Manufacture and Design Cow Duck Pots. It's related to our project. That's why I joined this course. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Amol, can we have introduction?
Yes, sir. I am from Maharashtra. Myself, Amol Sukhdev Phate, as Assistant Professor, College of Agriculture, Loni. I am learning the lots of information in farm power and machinery.
Okay, okay, very nice, very nice. So let's start the session of for today. So 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, since you put up screen, I was quite curious about this Neha's project. What is Neha? Can you little detail out what is the project? Cowdung what?
Yes, sir. Why not? Uh, Manufacturing of cow duck pots means with the help of cow duck, we can made the simple pot,
Oh,
adding
great,
other
great,
ingredients in it.
great, great. Thank you.
Okay, so let me start. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So my name is introducing me. My name is Ayan Paul. I'm a PMRF research scholar, IIT Kharagpur, and I will be TA for your course. By TA, I am meaning here particularly problem solving TA. So what I will do each week, I have already told. Like I will try to summarize all those 5 or 6 week lecture, and thereafter I will try to cover some of the questions that are related to your assignment, that is not covered in your assignment but kind of related to your assignment. Okay, so that is my task. And about this course, this is a farm machinery course, NPTEL course. It is taken by Professor VK Tiwari, Director IIT Kharagpur, and Professor Agriculture and Food Engineering Department, IIT Kharagpur. Okay. So meanwhile, someone has joined. Gautam, can we have an introduction? Hello, Gautam. Is my voice audible, Gautam? Okay, no problem. He might not be here. Okay, so agricultural engineering. I hope everyone is not from agricultural background. So let me brief you about agricultural engineering. So agricultural engineering mainly covers three specialization. One is land and water resource engineering. Second is farm machinery and power, and third is agricultural processing and food engineering. Okay, these are the three main sectors that is covered in agricultural engineering. And in this course we will focus on the second sector, that is farm machinery and power. Okay, so each sector has its own significance. Starting with land water resource engineering, it is related more about soil and land and how it is influencing the plant. Okay, second is our farm machinery and power. Farm machinery and power, we basically deal with the mechanization part. Okay, the machinery that is used for the operation of farm. Okay, someone else is also joining. Hello, Chandrasekhar. Hello, Chandrasekhar. Is my voice audible?
Sir, we can hear you, sir. You're very loud and clear, sir.
Chandrasekharan Gopalan. Is my voice audible? You have joined just now. Okay, no problem. So this is the thing I was talking about. Yeah. So farm mechanization I was talking about. So we will be dealing in this course about the second thing, that is farm mechanization, and third one is agricultural processing and food industry. That is after our harvesting process, that sector works. So these are the three sectors of agricultural engineering. So farm mechanization. Okay, farm machinery is I have already told what is farm machinery. Now what is farm mechanization? A very simple definition to start with. It is application of engineering and technology in farm production. Very simple definition. Okay, so why this farm mechanization is needed? Why we need mechanization? We can grow our plant without any mechanization also, right? For growing a plant, what we required seed, we required nutrients for the seed in terms of fertilizer or anything, we require water. Okay, by this we can grow our plant. Okay, but why we need this farm mechanization? So starting with seed, there is an increase in population of the world. If you have read the lectures, week lectures, you must have read that from if I compared from 1951 to this 1951 to this 2023, the our population has increased about four folds. Okay, but to feed this population, yeah. To feed this population, what we need is we need to increase our agricultural food production. Okay, more the people, more we required food to feed them. Okay, so for that we mainly required farm mechanization, but but you can say if we required more food, still we cannot, if we don't use this farm mechanization, we can still work out. Okay, so the answer to this is, see, uh, you have seen the population, there is an increase in population of the world, but if we compare to number of farmers employed in agriculture, you can see that the farmers are decreasing every year because of other industries that is attracting them. Because see, this agriculture task without any mechanization, this is very, you know, expensive, means expensive in terms of hard work. Okay, so this is a very hard working task without this mechanization. So that is why we require farm mechanization. Okay, so therefore there is a need to increase crop production to feed the current population of the country, and for this we mainly require this mechanization. What are the other advantages of this mechanization? So first advantages is it ensures timeliness of field operation. So you will see there are many operation of required to grow our crop. Okay, so without this implements, the time required to complete a certain task may increase, and that will affect the quality and yield of this crops and other things. Okay, and it may also hamper the profit of the farmer. So for this, to ensure the timeliness, this is one of the main advantage of farm mechanization. Other thing is it improves farm crop productivity. See, uh, farm productivity, if you will harvest those products with your hands or without any machine, first it will take time, second it might deteriorate the quality of your product. Okay, so that is why that is why we required this farm mechanization. And third thing is it reduced crop losses and improved grain quality. Again, if our productivity is increasing, crop losses are also decreasing. Okay, so to improve the grain quality and reduce crop losses, this farm mechanization is useful. Fourth is reduce human drudgery. As I have already, when I was talking about the C point here, like the number of farmers employed is decreasing. Why decreasing? Because it is very hard work in a farm. So to reduce human drudgery or their tiredness, this farm mechanization is very advantageous. So is this slide clear to you all? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any query from this slide particularly? Any simple queries you have? Anything in mind? One thing I want to request is please make this session interactive. Okay, so if you interact with me, then only I can understand your doubts well. Okay.
Yeah, well, sir,
Okay, sir.
clear, yes.
Okay, very nice. So let's move on to the second slide. So farm power availability and grain production. So this is a chart that is showing the blue line is showing okay, so x-axis is showing the years and y-axis is showing the data. And data, there are two types of data. The red so the blue line indicates power availability, and the orange line, that is indicating the productivity. Okay, so you can see from this graph clearly that whenever this blue line is taking an upward trend, the orange line is also taking an upward trend. So that clearly means that there is a positive correlation between this power availability that is indicated by this blue line, and this productivity that is indicated by this orange line. Okay, so for more information, I want to draw your attention is that in 2018-19 our farm power availability was 2.49 kilowatt per hour and per hectare, and it is expected to be 4 kilowatt per hectare by 2030. Now one main question that I want to ask is, can anyone tell me how this power availability is calculated? Can anyone unmute and try to tell how this power availability is calculated? Anyone?
Sir, no idea, sir.
Okay, no idea. Okay. So, in farm, what are the main sources of power? What do you think, guys? Main sources of power in a farm.
Bullock power.
Okay, bullock power. Okay, bullock power.
Mot-
It can
motor
be
power, motor running motor power.
okay, motor power. So, yeah, adding to bullock power, it can be bullock. It can be any other animal, right? So
Mechanical.
that for that we call it animal power. Okay. Second is someone called motor power. So that is electric power. Any other power?
Maybe
Mechanical power.
tractor power, maybe. How much
Eh,
tractor HP required?
Yeah, tractor power. Tractor. There are other implements also, like a power tiller is there with tractor, and other similar type of self-propelled equipment also, like you can have transplanter, etc., etc., combine harvester, etc. Anything we are missing for power? Anything else?
Renewable energy.
Yeah, renewable energy. We use this renewable energy for different, for powering the motor or powering the tractor or powering any other implement. Okay, so renewable energy is not power. Renewable energy is a source of energy. Okay, like for
Human power.
yeah, very good. Human power. So yes, so basically in whenever we are discussing this farm machinery and power, there are three source of power. One is this human power, second one is animal power, and third one is electric power or whatever, electric power or machinery power, any machinery. Okay, so power availability in a farm, the unit is kilowatt per hectare, that you can see in the slide, right? Kilowatt per hectare. Kilowatt is a energy of unit of what? Kilowatt is a unit of what?
Power,
Power. Very good. And hectare is a unit of
area.
area. So 1 hectare equals to how much meter square? 10,000 meter square. Okay.
Meter square.
Yeah, 10,000 meter square equals to 1 hectare. So simply we calculate the power available in the farm divided by area. Now someone had told animal power, someone had told this human power, someone had told electric power. So regarding this electric power or any mechanical power, that is fixed. Like a tractor can be of 35 kilowatt or 40 kilowatt. Similarly, a motor can be of some kilowatt, right? But what about animal power? How much is the animal power? Anyone? In kilowatt or in HP? HP, you know HP? 1 HP equals to 746 watt. Okay, or 0.746 kilowatt. So how much do you think an animal power we take?
One bullock power is 0.1, 0.5 HP.
1 bullock power is 0.5 HP. Okay, 0.5 HP, or in general we take 1 bullock as 1 animal power as 1 HP. Okay, so keep in mind, you might require it in the future. And second thing is Human power. How much do you think human power is?
Maybe 10% of animal power will be.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
10% of animal power, that is point 0.1 HP. It is 0.1 HP for men and 0.075 HP for women. But generally we take 0.1 HP. So again I am repeating, for human that is 0.1 HP. For animal power we take 1 HP. Okay, and the electric power or mechanical power, that is fixed. Okay, now area. If I tell you to calculate this power availability of the country, so will you take the whole area of the country, or you will take only the area of the farm? What do you think?
I think the land which is cultivatable land will
Yeah, very
be
good.
cultivated.
Very good. So the area should be the land that is cultivated, not the other area. Okay. So how you will calculate that? 1 HP into number of person that is working on farm, plus, sorry, 0.1 HP into number of people working in farm, plus 1 HP into number of animals that are working on farm, plus all your other mechanical powers divided by total cultivable land. Okay, this is the formula. So is this clear, how this power availability is calculated?
Yes.
Any doubt regarding this?
You told women is 0.075, huh? Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay.
75% of men. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So generally we take, for human we take 0.1 HP. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let me back to the slide. Yeah. So there is a positive correlation with this power availability and productivity. So as you can see in the graph, as the blue line is showing an increasing trend, the orange line is also showing an increasing trend. So it is expected our power availability will be 4 kilowatt per hectare of the country by 2030, and by the according to this data, our grain production will also increase from, you can see, 2.06 ton per hectare in 2012-13 for 1.84 kilowatt per hectare. So when we will go up to 4 kilowatt per hectare, our grain production will also increase. Okay, so this is the thing. So let me go back my slide. Okay, 1 minute. Let me. Okay. So what are the different farm machinery operations? Okay. So this is very important slide. So in farm machinery, generally we break our farm machinery operations to 4 parts. One is land development, tillage and seedbed preparation. This is the primary operation, this first thing. Okay, primary operation, this is the first operation of our farm machinery, right? Second is sowing and planting, means once we develop the field, our next task is to sow the seed or plant the seed. There's a difference between sowing and planting that I will tell you in the subsequent classes what is the difference. Okay. Third is weeding, intercultivation and plant protection. So when our plant is growing, we need to protect our plant by competition of some weeds that is grown nearby, or some other pest, insecticides, insects, etc. We have to protect our plant. So this is known as plant protection operation. And fourth one is harvesting operation. When our fruits and other cereal crop has attained the maturity stage, or you can say physiological maturity stage, we do the harvesting and harvesting operation. And after harvesting, we do the threshing operation to separate our grains from any husk or any grasses, etc. So to separate it, we do the fourth operation. Okay, and fifth operation is actually in post harvest operation, that I have already told you there are three disciplines of agricultural engineering. One is land and water LWRE, that is land and water resource engineering. Second is our farm production, farm machinery, and third is our food agricultural processing and food engineering. So this fifth operation that generally goes to our agricultural processing and food engineering department. Okay, so basically we need to focus on this four operation. So again I am telling what are the four operation. One is land development, second is sowing, third is plant production, and fourth is harvesting. Okay, so there are different type of machinery that is used for this subsequent operation. So for land development we use tractors. Tractor does not do the land development. We attach this tractor with either levelers or plow or some dozer type of thing. Dozer you all might know, bulldozer. You might have heard this name, bulldozer. So this is a dozer, and fourth one is scrapper. Okay, so these are the four five machinery that is used for land development. Now for sowing and planting we use the seed drill, we use the seeder, planter, dibbler, and transplanter. Seed drill, it is a machine that is used to sow the seeds. Planter, again a machine that is used to sow the seeds, but the difference between this seed drill and planter is that in case of seed drill we do not maintain plant to plant distance. Okay, but in case of planter we accurately maintain this plant to plant distance. Okay, and in case of dibbler is a manual instrument. Okay, so it is used for precise planting, more precise than planter. And transplanter, for some of the crops we basically required to conduct our operation first in a nursery, and from the nursery we have to transplant our plants to the main field. So for this the transplanter is used. Now for plant production we use a shovel or plow. You must have heard this name. We use a harrow, we use tiller, we use sprayer, we use duster. Now this sprayer is used for liquid application, but this duster is used for solid application, or like powder like application, or some granular like particles. We use duster, but sprayer we have to do liquid application. So this is the main difference between sprayer and duster. And then harvesting, we harvest it by a harvester, or we can say combine harvester, that combine all the operation of harvesting. After harvesting we do the threshing operation by thresher. For some special type of plants like potatoes etc., we take the help of digger. It dig the soil and harvest our thing like potatoes or any other groundnut type of things. Then reaper is basically used for cutting the crop. Now sheller and sickle dow. Sickle is mainly used for hand operation of reaping only. Reaper is a mechanized machinery, but sickle, it is a manual kind of tool that is used for this reaping operation. Okay, so these are the four major operation that is used in our farm machinery, and these are the machinery or used. Okay, we will learn in details about some of the machinery in the subsequent lectures. So is this slide clear to all of you? Any
Yeah,
doubt?
one question was dibbler. What is dibbler? Can you show picture of dibbler? How it is accurate and all?
Okay, dibbler, whenever I will be taking this sowing and planting thing, there I will show you the picture. Okay, dibbler, now you can say this is a handheld equipment that is used to precisely plant the seeds. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any?
Sir, can you explain in planter and transplanter?
Yeah, very good. So see, seeder and planter. Mainly the difference that is asked will be asked to you in any farm machinery interview or anywhere. That is the difference between seeder and planter. Thereafter, I will explain you the transplanter. So see, when you are okay, let me yeah. So see, if this is your field, okay, this is your field, you are sowing the seeds, like you are sowing here, you are sowing here, you are sowing here, you are sowing here. So if this distance is d and this distance is also d, that type of equipment we call it planter. Okay, so seed to plant distance is same in case of planter, but this d is not equal to d dash in case of seeder. So this is the seeder or seed drill. Okay, so this is the main difference between planter and seeder. Okay, seeder or seed
Oh,
drill. And now about transplanter. Actually, some of the specialized plant, like you can say rice or rice. Some of the rice are some of varieties of rice are planted by hand, but some it required transplanting. First, we have to grow these plants in a nursery. Before going to field, we have to first grow this seed in a favorable conditions and etc. Okay, thereafter we will pick that plant up and we will transplant it into the main field. So for that purpose we require transplanter. Okay.
okay, okay. Understand, sir.
Okay, okay. So any other doubt?
No, sir.
This is one of the most important slide. I want to draw your attention about the four farm machinery operation. So that will be asked to you again and again anywhere you will be facing any interview or any kind of thing. Okay, so please keep in mind this four operations of farm machinery. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. Yeah, so our first farm machinery operation is land bed preparation, or you can say seed bed preparation, or we started with tillage. Okay, so what is this tillage? Tillage is mechanical manipulation of soil for proper seed bed preparation. Okay, so before you are planting your seed, you have to do some seed bed operation. Okay, you have to mechanically manipulate the soil. So that operation is known as tillage. What are the objective of tillage? Basically, we do tillage to develop a desirable soil structure for seed bed or root bed. So basically, what happens is any barren land, if kept for many days, it will develop a hard pan over that. Okay, so when the hard pan is developed, without this tillage operation, if you will sow that seed, the root will not able to go or and penetrate well into the soil. So to open our soil a bit, we mainly do our tillage operation. Okay, second is control weeds or to remove unwanted crop plants. So before this tillage operation, there can be unwanted crops that are lying in your field. So to remove this, we will do this tillage. uh, Third is manage plant residue. Again I am telling, like any plant residue if left, so to control that, we do our tillage. We can the plant residue, if we will do the tillage, so what it will do is the plant residue go into the soil, and when we mix the soil, our nutrition value of the soil also increases. Okay, so for that we do tillage. Then to minimize soil erosion by following contour tillage listing and proper placement of trash. Now what happens is, agricultural land is very prone to soil erosion. Whenever the rain comes, it basically takes soil with it. So to manage that, we do our seed bed preparation in such a way that it control the soil erosion. And last one is to incorporate and mix fertilizer, pesticide or soil amendment into the soil. So basically what happens is, if our soil is already too acidic or too basic, so we have to mix some fertilizers or some amendments before, to mix the fertilizer properly with soil, this tillage operation is very helpful. Okay, so this is the thing. So is this slide clear? Tillage?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Any doubt regarding tillage?
So one question was there
Yes.
about this the topsoil. So when we till the topsoil is goes down, or what is the way, or
Ye-
uh, or or what is the required for the plant? Topsoil required, or what is the or the deep soil required?
yeah, both required. Topsoil also required. Generally, our planting we do 15 to 20 centimeter, basically for more crops. Okay, it is 15 to 20 centimeter. So it is, I think, both the soil required, right? Topsoil also and below that soil also. So tillage, what we do is to destroy that hard pan created. We basically aerate the soil. Okay, when we will do the digging operation or something operation, that hard pan will be destroyed. Okay, and our root will properly penetrate well into the soil. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Okay. So let me move. Okay, so now what are the types of tillage? So basically there are two type of tillage. One is primary tillage and the one is secondary tillage. There is another type of tillage called conservation tillage. So let's see what are the different type of tillage. What is the meaning of this different type of tillage? So first is primary tillage. So primary tillage constitute initial major soil working operation. So this is the main type of tillage. Okay, so it constitute that initial major soil working operation, and it is normally designed to reduce soil strength, plant cover residues, and rearrange aggregate. So you can say this is the main form of tillage. Whatever definition you have heard, so this is the main type of tillage, that is primary tillage, initial major soil working operation. Okay, so the initial soil working operation we covered in this tillage. So these are the different tillage equipment. You can see this is a moldboard plow, this is a reversible moldboard plow, this is a disc plow, this is a chisel plow, and this is a subsoiler. Okay, so is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So next type of tillage is secondary tillage. Secondary tillage is to create refined soil condition following this primary tillage. So after this primary tillage, we need to we need our soil to be properly leveled. Okay, without leveling, our seed one seed might be at different depth, and another seed might be at different depth. So that will affect the that will basically affect the yield quality. Okay, so to prevent that, what we do proper refining the soil, or to properly level the soil. So this comes under secondary tillage, and these are the different machinery that is used for secondary tillage. You can see this is harrow, cultivator, rotavator, and this is another type of harrow called spike tooth harrow. And third type of tillage, this is a special type of tillage that is known as conservation tillage. So what if do not require soil, like our seed bed is already in a good condition? So for in there, the type of tillage that we require is minimum tillage. So in minimum tillage, we reduce row crop and improve soil conditions. So we reduce row crop operations. Here there will be operations. Okay. So this is we reduce row crop operation and improve soil condition. Okay, so if our soil is already in a good condition, there we do not require this primary or secondary tillage. We can go with conservation tillage. There is another type of tillage known as stubble mulch tillage. Stubble mulch tillage, I already told you that there might be a problem of wind erosion or water erosion, okay, and the soil might be taken by wind or water. So to protect this, we do the stubble mulch tillage. What we do is the plants that are already in that were already in the field, we we basically mix those plants in a top few centimeter of soil, so that the strength of the soil increases. So this is the purpose of this conservation tillage. And you can see these are the two popular equipment that is used for conservation tillage. One is zero till seed drill, and one another is mulch machine. Zero till seed drill, it is basically used for this minimum tillage, and mulch machine, it mixes the mulch or the crop residues that were already in the soil. It mixed it with the soil. This is the equipment for stubble mulch tillage. So is the slide clear to all of you? Primary tillage, secondary tillage, and conservation tillage.
Sir, what is the row crop operation reduce?
Yeah, row crop operation means all this operation, primary tillage, secondary tillage. Row crop operation means any farm machinery operation. We also call it as row crop operation, because we always do all the operation in a row, okay. In any farm, you can if you visit any farm, you can see the crop are planted in a particular row, okay. So that is why we call farm machinery operation to row crop operation also, okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other doubt? All these equipments, we will take some of the equipments, and we will be discussing in detail, okay.
Okay, sir.
Any doubt in this slide? Okay,
No,
so
sir.
so let me move to the next slide. So yeah, for any farm machinery operation, what you require a tractor, okay. So there are some of the definition that is related to this implements and tractor. So first is pull this you can see this first this part is tractor, and this part, second part, is your implement, okay. First part is tractor, second part is implement. So this, what is this pull of an implement is total force exerted upon the implement by the power unit or the tractor, okay. So the force that is exerted by this power unit to pull this implement, that is known as pull, okay. In farm machinery operation, we will call it pull. Now what is this draft? Draft is the horizontal component of pull parallel to the line of motion, and is known as draft, okay. So what happens is this may be your tractor, okay. So your implement, it is not necessary that your implement is always in a straight position, okay. Your implement can be like can be tilted to some position also, okay. So what we will do, we will take this, this is known as pull. This force exerted is known as pull, okay. This is the pull. So what is draft? If we will take the component in a horizontal direction, that is known as draft, okay. This is the draft, this is the pull, and this is the draft. So this is known as draft. Now specific draft, draft per unit cross section area of the tilled cross section area. So whenever the implements the implement, whenever it is pulled, it has some draft, okay. So if we divide the draft with the tilled cross section area, we will get the specific draft. Now what is side draft? The horizontal component of
Sir, this is sir, this is not clear, sir. This is once again, please, sir.
yes, please.
The area not clear. Which area?
Yeah, area. So see, this, you can see this is your implement, okay. You can see this to our moldboard implement. So when the moldboard will be pulled, your there will be some tillage, okay. This tillage, and this is known as tilled soil, okay. This is strip, and this is the second strip. Two tools, so two strip. So this is the tilled soil, okay. So when you will pull your equipment, it will be tilted in the horizontal direction. I am showing it in vertical direction, but it is actually in horizontal direction. Okay. So when you will divide this draft by this area, tilde area, that is known as specific draft. Okay.
Clear, sir, clear. Thank you.
Okay. Now what is side draft? Yeah, so in case of draft, I have shown you, I have told you this is the horizontal component of the pull, okay? But the horizontal component of the pull may also be, see, this, there are two planes, okay? The one is vertical plane and another is horizontal plane. So this horizontal, in the horizontal plane also, it may not be inclined in the it may not be in a straight line as that of the tractor. Okay, so it can be in the horizontal plane, it can be somewhere here also. Okay, so side draft is perpendicular to the line of, this is your if, see, if this is your pull, this is your pull denoted by P. So taking this pull in horizontal plane, this is your this is your draft. Okay, now if the side draft is a perpendicular, this is your side draft, S D. Okay, so this is your pull, this is your draft, and this is your side draft. The perpendicular force the perpendicular force, that is the force that is in perpendicular to this draft is known as side draft. Is this clear? What is pull, what is draft, what is side draft?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now power, everyone knows what is power. It is the rate of doing work, and I have already told you its unit is kilowatt. And regarding drawbar power, okay, so let me erase it. Yeah, so drawbar power is nothing but draft into the speed. Power, we also know that power is equal to force into velocity, right? Power is force into velocity. So this drawbar power will be equal to draft of the implement into the speed that the implement is traveling. So this is your drawbar power. Okay. Now center of resistance. It is the point at which resultant of horizontal and vertical force, including parasitic force, act on the implement. So forces, there are two kind of forces. One is useful force, that is required to cut the soil or do the useful operation. Okay, and there is parasitic force like friction or any kind of such forces that is coming due to our useful force, that is known as parasitic force. So center of resistance is the point of resultant of this horizontal and vertical forces, including the useful as well as this parasitic force. Okay, and last is line of pull. It is the imaginary straight line passing from the center of resistance to the clevis of the center of pull. So you can see in the diagram, this is the line of pull. Okay, so this is your hinge line. Okay, where the implement is hinged with the tractor, or you can say line of pull. Okay, so this is your line of pull. So is this clear?
Line up pull is this black color one or dotted one? So the arrow is seeing something else. In the arrow here,
Okay.
the
Let me erase it and clear it. Okay. So yeah, it's line of pull. This is your hinge point of hinge or pull. Okay. This is your pull. That is the tractor is pulling the implement. This is your pull. Okay. There here is a center of resistance. Okay. So the line, this line is the line of pull. Okay. This black line.
Okay.
This is the pull that your tractor is this is the pull that the tractor is pulling the implement, okay, and this O point is the center of resistance, okay. So the line that is going from this center of resistance to this pull is known as line of pull, okay.
I was thinking about the lower link is the what line of pull will be there, because this top link will be tractor will pull the lower link. That
No, the tractor will pull everything, na. Three
okay,
point hitch system, na. 3 point hitch system,
okay,
okay. So this is your line of pull, the
okay,
black
fine,
that I've implemented.
fine.
Okay. Okay. So is this clear? Any other doubt? Okay. So let me move to this MB plow. So this is an MB plow, mold board plow. These are the different components of this MB plow. So yeah, 3 point hitch. Someone was telling only this top link, but no, the top link as well as this two bottom links are also connected in a 3 point hitch. Okay, so that is why the line of the pull is coming like this. Okay, so that is the pull of the tractor, and line of the pull is somewhere there will be a center of resistance here, and this is your line of pull, okay. So this is a 3 point hitch, this is a frame, these are the mold board that is used for this plowing operation. This is a landslide that will take the side thrust of the mold board, and yeah, in the mold board there is a shear and there is a cutting edge. So the cutting edge first enters the soil, and what is the purpose of shear? That shear, it turns the soil, okay. So plowing is what, initial soil working operation. So to break that hard pan, what we will do is we do that tillage in such a way that the soil turns, the overturns, okay. So this is also known as pulverizing operation. So the soil overturns, so that function is done by shear. And frog is an element that connects this mold board with this frame and hinge, okay. This is the function of the frog. So this is mold board plow, and function is cutting the furrow slice, then lifting the soil. As I have told you, the shear does the lifting, the shear also does the turning operation, and pulverizing the soil. Pulverizing the soil means breaking the hard clods, or breaking to decrease the diameter of the soil clods, okay. The diameter of the soil clods needs to be decreased in order to have a better penetration in the soil. So this MB plow also does the pulverizing of the soil. Now types of mold board. This type of mold board you are seeing here is one way mold board plow. There is another type of mold board plow known as two-way mold board plow. So here you can see the turning operation is at one side, okay. If the turning operation of the soil in both the side, that is known as two-way mold board plow or reversible mold board plow, okay. Now there are different types of plow bottom that is used for different purpose. So the general purpose bottom mold board plow, that is mainly used for different wide kind of operation. But the sword or breaker type of mold board plow, it is you can see by the shape, it is a long and low mold board. It is used to invert the furrow slice with a minimum breakup. So in this sword or breaking type of mold board plow, basically this this turning operation will be more, okay. This turning operation will be more, and there will be a decreased pulverizing operation. So this is the purpose of this type of bottom. Now this flat bottom has portion of mold board cut and is sometimes used to extremely sticky soil. If the soil is very sticky and it is sticking to this mold board plow, so for that purpose we use this flat bottom mold board plow. Now stubble bottom mold board plow, it is you can say opposite to this sword bottom mold board plow. It is relatively short and broad mold board plow, and it is it has a greater degree of pulverization than other types. So this two mold board you should remember, you should keep in mind for your exam or any other interview purpose. One is sword or breaker type of mold board plow, and another is stubble bottom. So what this sword does, it does much inversion operation than pulverization operation, and this stubble bottom, it does greater pulverization operation and lesser inversion operation. Okay, so is this slide clear, the difference between this uh, sword or breaker type of moldboard plow and stubble bottom moldboard plow? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again I am repeating, this what does the moldboard plow does. First it does the cutting operation. Okay, it will enter into the soil. Then it does the lifting operation, means it will lift the soil. Then it does the turning operation. Turning operation also known as inversion operation. Okay, it will turn the soil. Okay, and for this pulverizing operation, pulverizing means it will decrease the large clot diameter into smaller clot diameter. Okay, so these are the four function that a moldboard plow does. Okay, so this sword or breaker type of moldboard plow, what it does, it is it does the pulverization operation more than, sorry, it does the inversion operation more than pulverization. Okay, and in case of stubble bottom moldboard plow, it does pulverizing operation more than inversion operation. Okay, so is this clear?
Yes, clear. One thing, how to measure this inversion and polarization?
Yeah, inversion and pulverization. Now inversion, basically, why we do inversion, if there are weeds are there already, there are weeds. So what this inversion is do is, it cover the soil, it cover the weeds with the soil. Okay, this is the primary thing why we do inversion. So for that we can take the weeding efficiency. Okay, weeding efficiency. Okay, weeding efficiency. What is this weeding efficiency? Weeds before this inversion operation minus weeds after that inversion operation divided by weeds before that inversion operation into 100. So this is known as inversion index, or we can say weeding efficiency. So by that we measure this inversion. Okay, and pulverization, we can find out pulverization by that puddling, sorry, not puddling index, by measuring the clot size diameter. So the diameter of clot size before this pulverizing operation minus diameter of clot size after pulverizing operation divided by diameter of clot size before this pulverizing operation into 100%. So by that you can find out this pulverizing index. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is the thing. Now next type of implements is this plow. This is also a primary tillage equipment. Okay, so this you can see, this is the 3-point hitch, this is the frame, this is a scraper. What it do is, before the disc go into the soil, this scraper first go into the soil. Okay, so that the disc, the draft, the force exerted by the scraper required is less. Okay, this is the furrow wheel. In moldboard plow, this landslide take the side thrust, but here you can see there is no landslide, so this furrow wheel take the side thrust. Okay, and this is standard that is used to attach this disc with this frame, and concave disc, the disc that is used, these are concave disc. Okay, the shape is concave. Okay, these are the components of the disc plow, and this is also a primary tillage equipment. And the function of this tillage equipment is it is forced to penetrate into the soil, which is too hard for moldboard plow. Okay, so there are some soil that is very hard for this moldboard plow. Okay, so for that purpose we generally use our disc plow. Okay, so it is also used for sticky soil, because moldboard you can see the shape. With this shape there is more sticking action of soil to this moldboard. Okay, but here you can see, as the shape of this cutting tool is a form of disc, so the soil that is sticking on the disc is less. So in sticky soil we basically use the disc plow, where it is very where the moldboard cannot penetrate. Second, we can also use this in rough and stony soils, because the disc is connected by this standard, and this standard is there are some type of spring that is attached in this standard. Okay, so so when we are operating in rough and stony soil, the shock absorbance of this type of implement is less. So this is the purpose that we move from moldboard plow to this disc plow. Okay, now standard disc plow, as I have already told, this is the standard disc plow. So for this standard disc plow there are two type of angle. Okay, one is disc angle and another is tilt angle. So this is the direction of travel of the tractor. Okay, so the disc will be at certain angle to the direction of travel. So the angle between the direction of travel and the disc angle, this is known as disc angle. Okay, and another angle is known as tilt angle. Tilt angle with vertical. Okay, with vertical the disc is tilted to some angle, that is known as tilt angle. So again I am repeating, in this standard disc plow, two type of angle we need to focus about. One is disc angle and the is tilt angle. Disc angle is the angle that the disc is making with the direction of travel. Okay, and tilt angle, the angle that the disc is making with the vertical. Okay, so this question is very common. The generally for disc plow, the disc angle vary from 42 to 45 degree, whereas the tilt angle vary from 15 to 25 degree. Okay, so yeah, vertical disc plow, this is a standard disc plow. But there is another type of disc plow called vertical disc plow. Vertical disc plow, in case of vertical disc plow, this tilt angle will be 0. You can see this is a vertical disc plow. Here you can see the disc are at some angle with the vertical, but here you can see the disc is at 0 degree angle to the vertical. Okay, so that is why this type of disc plow we called it vertical disc plow. So again I am repeating, there are two types of disc plow. One that I have already explained you, that is standard disc plow. Second is vertical disc plow. Okay, vertical disc plow, in case of vertical disc plow, this tilt angle is 0 degree, but in case of standard disc plow, this tilt angle is 15 degree to 25 degree. Okay, so is this clear?
Yes, sir. But vertical disc plow used where sandy soil area.
Where this stickiness action is not does not come more into action, there we use vertical disc plow. And second, where this force to penetrate the soil is less, there we use vertical disc plow. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so any question in this slide?
No, sir.
Okay, so let me move on to the next type of implement, that is disc harrow. Disc harrow is very similar to this vertical disc plow. Only thing here is in this vertical disc plow you can see only one gang, right? But in this disc harrow you will see more than one gang. So according to the number of gang and how they are placed, this disc harrow is divided into three types. One is single acting disc harrow. Single acting disc harrow, you can see only two gangs, and these two gangs, the disc are at opposite direction. You can see the disc at the left side is facing towards the left direction, and disc at the right side is facing to the right direction. So what happens in this type of plow is the soil action is the soil throwing action is towards the outside. Okay, the soil throwing action by both this gang disc are at the outside. Okay, so this is single acting disc harrow. But in tandem disc harrow, or you can say this as double acting disc harrow, we have we have four gangs, two sets. Okay, in the front set gang you can see the soil throwing action outside, but in the second set of gang you can see the soil throwing action in the inner side. Okay, so we are doing the tilling operation two times here. Okay, we are tilling the soil twice. Why we are doing this? We are doing this to have a more level field. Okay, so the first set of gang, what it will do, it will throw the soil outside, but the second set of gang, it will do, it will it will try to throw the soil in the inward direction. So by this our leveling operation of the field is done. Okay, so this is the use of this tandem acting disc harrow. So this third type of disc harrow is known as offset disc harrow. This is also similar to this double acting disc harrow, only the difference is that tandem disc harrow, for one set gang disc, we are using two gangs. Okay, but in offset disc harrow, for one set of action, we are using only one set of gang. Okay, one set of gang for throwing the soil outside, and the second set of gang for throwing the for throwing the soil inwards. So these are the three types of plow. So is this clear? Hello, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is a angle that is used for this type of arrow is gang angle. Okay, so gang
Sir,
angle,
one doubt is what is the gang of Dix?
yeah, gang of disc. You can you will be understanding this to this diagram. You can see you can see these are the disc. These are the disc you can see clearly, right? Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, disc you
Oh,
can see clearly. The pipe, or you can see the thing that is attaching all the disc. This red thing. Okay, that is attaching all the disc. That is known as gang. Okay.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So this is the thing. So the angle that the axis of the gang make with the line of perpendicular to the motion. So you can see this is the gang angle for this type of for this disc. This is the gang angle, right? And this is your this is your this is your direction of motion. Okay, so the this angle that we can say this alpha, this is your gang angle. So the angle the gang is making with the line perpendicular to the direction of motion. So this is your direction of motion, and this is the perpendicular line to the direction of motion, and the gang the angle that this gang is making with this line, perpendicular line, is known as your gang angle. Okay, so is this clear? Is the gang angle
Okay.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see here also this is your you can say yeah, this sorry, in this diagram you can say this is your direction of motion, and okay, sorry, in this case this is your direction of motion, where it is hitched. Okay, and this is your perpendicular line, and the gang axis, the angle that the gang axis is making with the perpendicular direction to the perpendicular line to the direction of the direction of motion, that is known as gang angle. It is denoted by alpha. and normally the gang angle is between 30 to 35 degree. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the last equipment for today, rotavator. Okay, so this is a rotavator. So rotavator, what it does both the operations simultaneously, primary as well as secondary operation. Okay, so it is basically where we do not require that hectic primary tillage, there we use rotavator. Okay, so this is a rotavator machine, and you can see the different component. This is a 3-point hitch. You can see this is a frame. Okay, yeah, this is a universal shaft. So this the other equipment that all I have shown, this disc harrow and this disc plow and this moldboard plow, they are passive tillage equipment. Okay, passive tillage equipment means your tractor is not directly giving power to this equipment. Okay, for cutting, your tractor is not directly giving power. Okay, this moldboard only is giving power. Okay, your tractor is not directly giving power, so that is why this type of equipment are known as passive equipments. But this equipment that I am discussing now, okay, this equipment that I am discussing now, rotavator, this is an active tillage equipment. So for this blades to be in motion, we require power directly from the tractor PTO. Okay, so that is why this type of equipment is known as active tillage equipment. Okay, and this is the universal shaft. This universal shaft we connect with the tractor PTO, and the power goes from your tractor PTO to this universal shaft, and from this universal shaft there is a chain gear reduction. So actually the tractor PTO, you might have known the RPM of the tractor PTO is 540 RPM or 1000 RPM, or this two type of RPM are there, 540 RPM and 1000 RPM. So this RPM is very large, very high, for this blades to rotate. Okay, so we have to do some reduction in speed. So for this reduction in speed, we use this chain gear drive. Okay, so the power come from this universal shaft to this chain gear drive reduction, and from this chain gear drive reduction, it will go to this rotor assembly, and this rotor assembly will turn the blade. So that is how the tillage operation is done in this equipment. And yeah, there is a trailing board attached at the back of the equipment. Why it is attached? For the leveling purpose. Okay, so for the soil to have properly leveled, we use this trailing board. So this is are the components of the rotavator. Rotavator, it is also known as rotary cultivator. Okay, it is widely considered most important implement, as it provides greater degree of pulverization. Okay, and it is operated by tractor implement. That is why tractor PTO. That is why it is called as active tillage implement. Okay, so that is what I have told you first, that this is a active tillage equipment. Okay, now the question that always comes when we are discussing rotavator is types of blades used for this rotavator. So basically there are three types of blades that is used for rotavator. One is L type blade, second one is twisted blade, and third is straight blade. Okay, so L type of blade, it works well in trashy condition where there are more grass or there are more plant residue. There we use this L type of blade. Okay, what it do? It do more effective inversion operation or cutting weeds, or we can say it will do more effective inversion operation or turning soil operation, but it does not pulverize the soil much. Okay, like in case of moldboard plow, I have explained you. This sod or breaker type, it do well the inversion operation but not the pulverized one. Okay, so similar in case of this L type of blade. Okay, Similar in case of this L type of blade, it will do more well this inversion operation, but it will do less the pulverization operation. Second is twisted blade or curved blade. This is the twisted or curved blade. It is suitable for deep tillage, where we require deep tillage. Therefore, there we use this twisted blade or curved blade. Okay. It is also suitable for orchard. Orchard, in case of orchard, we generally require a more depth to sow the seed. Okay, so in case of orchard, we use this twisted blade. Third is a straight blade. Straight blade. This is the straight blade, and it is employed in mulcher, where we required more cutting operation, or where we want this weeds to go into the soil, and for this conservation of moisture purpose. So for this we use this straight blade. Straight blade has very less depth of tillage, as well as it also has very less pulverization. Okay, so for this we use straight blade. So this is the thing. Any doubt in rotavator?
I have one question. I was thinking, what is any drawback of rotavator?
Any drawback of rotavator? First, you
Yes.
need tractor PTO power, so that is the major drawback. Others, you do not require tractor PTO power, right? So that is the only, you can say, challenge of the active tillage implements over passive tillage implements.
No, but anyway, PTO is anyway there in all tractors, so there is no issue as such. And in fact, it should helps in running the tractor. But any drawback from the point of view of sowing or whatever?
No, PTO does not require to run the tractor, right?
No, PTO is there in tractor. Am I right?
Yeah, P2 is there in tractor, but it is not required, because when you will attach this PTO with your tractor, your fuel consumption will be more, right? So that
Yeah,
is the thing.
but in this case, only one time you run and matter close, rather than doing primary tillage and secondary tillage when you do the two times.
But
It is done one time.
yeah, but there are some of the fields there you required more primary tillage operation, right? This is the rotavator. It is used for less primary tillage operation. So there are fields that require more primary tillage. So there you have to use your either disc plow or moldwood plow. Okay.
Yeah, okay. But basically, I wanted to understand any reasoning, any drawback of this rather than power
No,
alone.
no drawback as
Okay,
besides power, not such any drawback.
okay, okay, fine.
Yeah, it is, as it is an active tillage implement, so it will require more maintenance operation, right? Others are passive,
Okay,
so it does not require that much maintenance operation. But here the blades are also doing the operation, so there will be more wear and tear, and there will be more maintenance for this type of implements.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
One question, sir. More point of view use in ask your question. What is suitable for type of blade?
What is suitable for type of blade? It generally depends on what condition you are working on. If your soil is more trashy, or that kind of soil, you will require L type of blade. If you want a depth a little more, then you will go for this twisted blade. If your depth of operation is not that much, you can go with straight blade, and the straight blade will also conserve moisture in the soil. So it
Okay.
basically depends on the what is your requirement. So it basically depends on that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, any other doubt? Okay, so till this the theory is completed. Now now I will try to cover some of the question that are very similar to your assignment, not like your assignment, but very similar to your assignment, because the assignment you have to solve by yourself only. Assignment is assignment has 25% marks. Okay, so assignment you have to solve on your own. But what I will do is I will try to take up as previous year assignments. Okay, so that you whenever you will be doing the assignment, you will not feel alienated. Okay, so for that I will be discussing some questions. So the question that I will be discuss this week will be from topic farm mechanization, tillage, MV plow, operation on fuzzy sets and rotavator. So my request to everyone is to engage more, and you can I will first display the question and try to if you know, you can answer in the chat section. If you even don't know, you can write your guesses in the chat section. Okay, is that fine?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So yeah, so first question, the diameter in millimeter and speed rpm of the PTO shaft having 21 splines are: option A 30 millimeter and 540 rpm, B is 30 millimeter and 1000 rpm, C is 45 millimeter and 540 rpm, and D is 35 millimeter and 1000 rpm. So any guesses? You can write in chat. You can open your mic and speak. Any guesses, or you know the answer? Any guesses for this?
5 and 1000.
Yeah, can you please repeat? Which option?
D, option D, D for Delhi.
Yeah. Okay. D. Any other option? I want everyone to guess at least. You can guess and write your option in the chat section.
A for apple, 30 and
Okay.
400.
Okay. So A and D. Any other guesses? Okay, so you can see this is the chart for your RPM and splines and diameter. So basically tractor PTO comes in two form, one at 540 RPM and one at 1000 RPM. For both this RPM, the diameter is 35 millimeter. For this 540 RPM, the splines, 6 straight splines are there, and for the 1000 RPM, 21 involute splines are there. Okay, so here it is asked 21 spline. So 21 spline, the rpm will be 1000 rpm and 35 millimeter diameter. So your answer will be D. Okay, so is this clear?
Okay.
Okay, so next question. The primary tillage implement suitable for plowing in stony and stumpy soil condition is A. MV plow, B is reversible MV plow, C is disc plow, and D is none of the above. This theory I have already discussed, so I want everyone to guess it, or to answer it.
MB
Disc
plow is
plow.
for sure.
MV plow. Okay, anyone else?
Disc plow, C.
Yeah, disc plow. Anyone else? Any other
I,
guesses?
I was thinking about both A and B. Reversible also will do same thing. I was thinking about.
Okay, so A and B. So see, here it is mentioned stony and stumpy soil. And whenever I was discussing the theory, I have told you, in stony and stumpy soil we use disc plow. Okay, so
Okay,
your
okay.
correct answer is C. Okay,
This plow. Okay.
I have already told you the theory. Okay, disc plow can be forced to penetrate into the soil. Where it is difficult to penetrate, we move from this MV plow to disc plow, as well as in sticky soil condition. Okay, and second is in rough stony and stumpy soil condition, we use this disc plow. So your answer will be C. Okay, so
Okay. The
this
MB
is
plow,
your,
maybe it will get break in case it is MB plow.
yeah,
In
yeah,
stony area.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So move on to the next question. Which type of blade is most preferable for operating the rotavator in trashy condition? Again, a question that I have already discussed in theory. I want you all to answer if you can.
It's L type.
L type. Any other guesses? Any other guesses? If yeah, Neha is telling A. Okay. Any other guesses? Okay, so Neha, I have already discussed when in case of trashy soil condition, we have to cut the root. Okay, so if twisted blade is used for more soil depth. Okay, but to cut the trashy things, we need the L type of blade. Okay, so the answer will be D. So the answer will be D. I have already discussed in trashy condition, we use this L type of blade. Okay, so this is the D. So move on to the next question. In a disc harrow, the angle between the axis of the gang and the line perpendicular to the direction of motion is known as,
Gang angle, huh?
yeah, gang angle. Any other guesses?
Gang angle C.
Gang angle. Okay, not the disc angle, right? Okay, so yeah, so disc arrow. Whenever we are talking about disc arrow, we are talking about gang and the and the angle that the axis of the gang is making to the line perpendicular to it. That angle is known as gang angle. Okay, the theory I have already discussed, and it is normally kept at 30 to 35 degree. Okay, so C is the correct answer. Okay. So up to this, everything is clear, right? Any question, any doubt? The four question I have discussed. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's move
No.
on to the numerical problem. An offset disk arrow with. Okay, Neha is telling no. Okay. So no doubt. Yeah. So let me start this question 5. An offset disk arrow with 12 disc. Okay. So number of disc are 12. The diameter of disc is 530 millimeter, and disc spacing. Okay, let me hide this. Yeah, disc spacing is 180 millimeter. It is operating in a field. If the gang angle is 30 degree, then the total working width of the disc arrow is what? So you know this formula. Anyone who has seen the videos know the formula. What is the formula for this? Okay, no problem. So let me tell you the formula. So I have told you there are three type of disc arrows, right? So for single action disc arrow, your working width is given by this formula 0.95 ns plus 0.3 d divided by 1000, where W is the width in meter that will come, and N is the number of the disc, S is the disc spacing, and D is the diameter of the disc in millimeter. Okay, so this is the formula for single action disc arrow. Similarly, for tandem action or double acting disc arrow, this is your formula. Okay, 0.3 is replaced by 1.2, and for offset disc arrow, this 0.3 replaced by 0.63. So in question it is asking for what type of disc arrow? Offset type of disc arrow. So we have to look into this formula. Okay, so what has been given in the question? We have given number of disc, that is n. So 0.95 into 12 we got. Have we got the spacing? Yes, the spacing is also given, that is 180 mm. Okay, so 0.95 into 12 into this 180 mm plus 0.6 into d. D is your diameter of the disc, and diameter of the disc is given 530 millimeter. So when you will apply this formula, 0.95 n into s plus 0.6 into d divided by 1000, you will place these values and you will get this answer, 2.37 meter. Okay, and 2.37 meter is your B. Yeah, 2.37 meter is your option B. So option B is your right answer. So is this question clear? It is a straight formula. What has been given in the question? Given in the question is number of disc, diameter of disc, and the spacing. And what in your formula it is 0.95 into n into s. N is the number of disc, that is 12. S is the disc spacing, that is 180 millimeter, plus 0.6 into d. D is the diameter of disc, that is 530 millimeter. So when you will solve this, you will get this answer, 2.37 meter. Okay, width is in meter. Okay, so you will get the answer in meter, 2.37 meter. So is this clear?
Clear, sir.
Neha, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move to the next question. The main purpose of landside of a tractor drawn moldboard plow is to, option A is to lift and turn the furrow slice, option B is to make horizontal cut of the soil slice, C is to resist the side pressure exerted by the furrow slice, and D is none of the above. So any guesses for this?
C option.
Number A.
Resist the.
Yeah, C option, someone is telling A. So we are left with B and D. So I don't think it will be D. So okay, between A and C. Okay. So lift and turn the furrow slice. So whenever I was talking about the mold board, the shear does this lift and turn the furrow slice. But the resisting of soil side pressure exerted, that is done by land side. Okay, so land side does this, C option. Okay, so you can see land side, the purpose of land side is to make the clear furrow wall. It also level the furrow wall, you can say, and take the side thrust of the soil. Okay, so C is your correct answer. Okay, so if we can go back, to the diagram, it will be more clear. So yeah, this you can see, this is your landslide. Okay, so landslide is at the side. It will do the two things. One is it will make a clear furrow wall, and second is it will take the side force. Your inversion and lifting operation, that will be done by this part, or the shear part. Okay, landslide will take the side thrust. So answer, so option C is your correct answer. Okay, so is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again a numerical, a rotavator has 9 discs and operating in a forward speed 5 km per hour. Okay, let me hide this toolbar. Yeah, if the each disc has 4 blades in one plane making 250 revolution per minute, then the byte length of the rotavator is given by. So do you know the formula for byte length? Anyone? Formula for byte length? Okay, so let me tell you the byte length or the tilling pitch. What is byte length? In fact, byte length is defined as the amount of travel per cut. Okay, how much the rotavator is traveling per cut. So that is your byte length. Okay, and that is given by this formula: L equals to V into 60 by N into Z. Okay, V is your forward speed, N is your RPM, Z is your number of blades that is acting in one plane. Okay, so this is the formula. So if you know the formula, you can directly put your values in it, and get the answer. Okay, so V is the speed. So speed is given 5 km per hour. The unit here must be in metric system. Okay, so kilometer per hour we have to convert it into meter per second. So 5 into 1000 by 3600. Okay, so when you will do 5 into 1000 divided by 3600. Okay, when you will do this, you will get your speed in meter per second, and that will be equal to 1.39 meter per second. Okay, for each disc 4 blades are acting in one plane. Okay, so 4 blades are acting in one plane, so Z is your 4 already given. Now 250, making 250 revolution per minute, so RPM is also given, that is 250. So when you will put V is 1.39, so 1.39 into 60 divided by RPM is given, that is 250 into Z. Z is given, that is 4. Okay, so Z is given 4. So 1.39 into 60 by 4 into 250. When you will do, you will get the answer 0.0834 meter, that is 8.34 centimeter. So your answer will be D. Okay. So is this clear? What is bite length? Again I am repeating, bite length is defined as amount of travel per cut. So rotavator, your blade will cut, okay? So when your blade is cutting, your implement is also moving forward. So bite length is amount of travel per cut. Okay, so this is the formula, and in our question all the values are given. So when we will put the value, you will get the bite length. So is this question clear?
So in case of different types of blade, L plate or whatever, this remains same or is it different? Will it vary?
Yeah, it is same.
Same. Okay.
It is same. Because see here there is no diameter involved in it, right? We are not
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Formula is fine. Okay.
yeah. in
Okay.
in here also this r is basically whenever, yeah, you see this diagram, it will be more clear. Rotavator, yeah, you can see this is a disc. This we are calling it as one disc. Okay, in one disc there are four blades, you can say 1 2 3, and there is a one at the back. Okay, so this is a disc. So that r that is given in the next formula, that is the radius of this. Okay, this is the r. Okay,
See, in case, see, if you see the straight blade,
yeah, straight
so
blade.
yeah,
Yeah,
if it is straight blade,
yeah,
so
yeah,
assuming it is like one round,
yeah,
so
yeah,
the cut length of straight blade is only one small blade like that width.
yeah, yeah,
I can think of L plate is fine. L plate will completely be cut everything,
yeah,
but straight will be make us one straight line cut.
yeah.
Then
So
how? Yeah, bite length how will remain same?
bite length is what? Again I am telling, bite length is amount of, see, bite length is the your distance traveled by your rotavator in one cut. Okay, that is your bite length. Again I am telling, yeah, bite length is what? Bite length is defined as amount of travel per cut.
Travel work.
So
Okay.
we are talking about distance, the rotavator, how much the rotavator is traveling distance per cut. So
Okay, so
there,
it necessarily not mean that okay, the how much soil will be cut, the how
no, no,
much
no, no,
the
no.
travel will be only the thing we're talking
Yes,
about,
yes, yes,
huh?
yes.
Okay, okay,
That is why there is no factor of straight blade or
okay,
L type of blade or twisted blade. Okay, so
okay.
this is the formula. Yeah, here u is the if we replace this n is the revolution that the disk is making, right? So in place of n, if we are expressing our speed in meter per second, we can directly call it as u. Okay, this is rpm, this unit is rpm, this unit is meter per second. Okay,
Clear.
okay. So this is the thing. Now question number 8, the rolling resistance and frictional forces that act upon, so yeah, the rolling resistance and frictional forces that act upon stabilizing surfaces such as landslide, etc. are known as: A is draft forces, B is useful soil forces, C is parasitic soil forces, and D is none of the above. So any guesses for this?
C parasitic.
Yeah, any other guesses? Yeah, I have already told you there are two type of forces that is used in farm machinery. One is useful forces. Useful forces, like in case of moldboard, it is the cutting force. Okay, but in case of moldboard, there are other forces that are also acting, right? Like frictional forces and the force that is acting, side force that is acting on the landslide to stabilize it. That are not useful forces. So that forces are known as parasitic forces. So your answer will be C. Okay, so this is the theory portion that is written in the slide. And yeah, there are two type of forces. One is useful forces, that is used for overcoming, cutting, breaking or moving the soil. This is your useful forces. Second forces is parasitic forces, like friction, rolling resistance, or other stabilizing forces, etc. So that forces are known as parasitic forces. So your correct answer is C. Okay, yeah, Neha is also telling C. Okay, yeah, so is this clear?
Yes,
Is
sir.
this question clear? Okay, so let's move to question number 9. Again a numerical. During a plowing operation, a two bottom moldboard plow make a rectangular furrow Make a rectangular furrow shape with 30 centimeter width, 10 centimeter depth. Okay, the tractor is operating at a speed of tractor is given as 4.5 kilometer per hour. If the soil resistance is 0.5 kilogram per centimeter square, then the power HP required to pull the plow is given by these are your option. So anyone who wants to tell how to approach this question? Okay, so whenever you are approaching any numerical question, you first see what are the data that is given. So first thing, it is given a two bottom mold board plow, means there are two mold boards. Okay, it is making a rectangular kind of furrow. The shape of furrow is rectangular. With 30 centimeter is the width of the furrow and 10 centimeter is the depth of furrow. Means like this is the it is 30. Okay, width is 30 and depth is 10 centimeter. Okay, this is a furrow. You can probably imagine it going into the screen. Okay, this is a furrow. Now it is given that the tractor is operating at a speed 4.5 kilometer per hour. So the speed of the tractor is given. Okay, now it is given that if the what is this? Yeah, if the soil resistance, is given as 0.5 kilogram per centimeter square. So soil resistance is also given. Okay, that is 0.5 kilogram per centimeter square. Now it is asked that the power in HP. Okay, what is the power in HP? So everyone know the formula for power. Power is force into velocity, right? So velocity is already given, that is 4.5 kilometer per hour. Okay, now if we know the force, we will get our answer. So force, how we will find the force? Already soil resistance is given, that is 0.5 kg per centimeter square. So for 1 centimeter square, the soil is experiencing a force 0.5 kilogram. Okay, so for this furrow depth 30 into 10 centimeter, how much 30 into 10 centimeter, this is the furrow cross section, right? So the furrow cross section area is total area is 300 centimeter square. And the thing is, here we are talking about two bottom mold board plow, so we need to multiply our furrow cross section with 2, right? Because we have two bottom mold board plow. So our furrow cross section, total furrow cross section is 600 centimeter square. So if we will multiply this 600 centimeter square with 0.5 kg per centimeter square, we will get this 300 kilogram force. Okay, and we can convert this in this in Newton. How we can convert this in Newton? 300 into 9.81. Okay, so we can convert any kg force to kg force to Newton by multiplying it with 9.81. So when we will multiply it, we have got 2943 Newton as the soil resistance. Okay, as the total draft. Okay, now we know the power is draft into speed. When we got the draft, we have the speed 4.5 kilometer per hour. As it is in kilometer per hour, we have to multiply by 1000 by 3600. So by doing this, we will get 3679 watt. Okay, or 3.7 kilowatt. But our question is asked, we have to express this power in HP. So I have already told you that 1 kilowatt equals to 0.746, sorry, then the reverse. Okay, 1 HP equals to 0.746 kilowatt. So when we know the how much kilowatt is there, we can divide this kilowatt by 0.746, and when we will divide 3.7 by 0.746, we will get our answer in HP. Okay, so 4.93 HP we will get the answer. So answer C is the correct answer. So is this clear how we have approached the question?
Yes, yes.
Hello, sir. Area is calculated by 0.5 multiplied by 6,000. How it is calculated?
Area is not calculated by 0.5. Area see your furrow, this is a furrow, okay, 30 centimeter width, 10 centimeter depth. So what is the area? Rectangular area 300 centimeter square, right? Hello,
Okay, sir. Okay.
hello, is this clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Yeah. So again I am telling your furrow wall, okay, how furrow has 30 centimeter width and 10 centimeter depth. So 30 into 10 is 300 centimeter square. So this is the furrow area. Okay, now in the question it is as 2 bottom plow. Okay, 2 bottom plow, that is why we have multiplied this 300 centimeter square into 2. So we got our total furrow area as 600 centimeter square. Okay, now when we have area and we have soil resistance, see the unit of soil resistance. Unit of soil resistance is kg per centimeter square, right? So if we multiply kg per centimeter square into centimeter square of the furrow, we will get this amount of force in kg, right? kgf. Okay, this amount of force in kgf, because centimeter square get cancelled out. Okay, so 300 kgf we got the force, kgf. Okay, now 300 kgf if we multiply by 9.81, we will get this much Newton. Okay, now power, power is force into velocity. We have the force, we have the velocity, that is given 4.5. So when we will multiply this by taking into consideration the units, we will get 3.7 kilowatt, and 3.7 kilowatt we will convert it into HP by dividing by 0.746, and when we will divide it, we will get 4.93 HP. So is this clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So I hope this question is clear to you all. This type of question can be there in your assignments. So I hope
Yes.
this is clear. Okay. This is 746. Okay. 746. 1 HP equals to 0.746 kilowatt. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next question and the last question. The bearing of gangs of the disc harrow are subjected to: A is radial load, B is thrust load, C is
C,
both.
C for C
Yeah,
for cat.
yeah. C for cat. Anyone else? And
B
could you?
is thrust load.
B is thrust load. Okay, and D is none of the above. Okay. So yeah. So let me tell you the answer. So basically, a disc plow takes when we are talking about disc harrow, the disc in the disc harrow, it is subjected to two type of load. One is radial load, another one is thrust load. So what is radial load? The load that is acting on the disc at the radius. Okay, so this is the radius. Everyone know what is radius. Okay, so the force that is acting towards the radius, that is known as radius load. Okay, and what is thrust load? There is a force that is acting in a vertical direction. Okay, so that type of load is known as thrust load. So this is the thrust load and this is the radial load. Okay, so why this radial load is caused? It is caused primarily by resistance of soil, because when the disc will rotate, the periphery of the disc will be subjected to soil. Okay, so the soil will exert some force, so that force is known as radial load. Okay, and what is this thrust load? The thrust load is caused because of forward motion of the disc harrow, because the disc is connected by gang, and whenever this gang is pulled by a tractor or anything, there will be a load that is coming to this gang, and because the load is coming to this gang, this load will be distributed to this disk also. So that load is known as thrust load. So again I am repeating, there are two type of load, one is radial load and then there is thrust load. Radial load is due to the action of the soil on the periphery of the disk, and the thrust load is due to forward motion of the harrow. The thrust load is basically coming first on the gang, and from the gang it is distributed to the disk. So these are the two type of load that is acting on the disk. Okay, so this is the thing. Your bearing of the gang is subjected to this two type of load. Okay, so answer C is the correct answer. So is this clear? Hello, am I audible?
Clear, sir, clear.
Yeah, yeah. So today's lecture, you got something, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Some portion is clear. At least you get something, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this type of question you will get in the assignment. So try to do that correctly, because 25% of marks will be for your assignment and 75% of marks will be for your exam. Those who are giving the certification exam, and for others it is a platform for learning. I hope you will get something whenever I will do the question, how to approach the problem and other concepts. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope the
Sir,
yeah, yeah.
possible your PPT is possible to share
Yeah,
your student.
yeah. Actually, in the NPTEL portal, whenever you will log in the NPTEL portal, uh, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you can see a thing called below the week assignments. You will see a icon called problem solving session. Okay. So in this problem solving session, I will give you this PPT. You will have a folder. Okay. In the folder, you will get this PPT. You will get a YouTube link, whatever the class I am conducting. I will be displaying this in a YouTube channel. Okay, so this YouTube link will also be there. Also there will be a backup video link for this class. Okay, so this three things you will get. Probably day after tomorrow you can check in your NPTEL portal, wherever you are getting those week lectures. Okay. Okay, is this clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Clear, sir.
Okay. So any doubt? Any other doubt? So was this interesting? Was this okay type? Interesting or okay type? Any feedback you want to give?
Yes, yes. Interesting.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
very yes.
Should I slow this, or it is okay? Because I want to first cover some summary of the weeks before going into the questions. Okay?
Yeah, fine, sir. Fine. Fantastic.
Okay,
Yes.
so we will meet on the next Tuesday, same time, 6 to 8 p.m. Okay?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
And please do the assignment, those who will be giving the certification exam. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for all to be with me. Actually, 1,000 learners have enrolled in this course, but only 6 of you have joined. So whatever, this lecture will be on your YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel also. So won't be any problem if you won't attend this also. But although I will encourage you to attend this, because when you will attend, when you will discuss with us live, it will be more clear to you. Okay?
Yeah, I noticed that I have signed up some more courses as well,
Yes,
and
yes.
unfortunately, all are clashing with this timing.
Okay, okay,
So that could be one reason that many have not joined, because they
okay.
might be people that who have taken other courses.
Okay, yeah,
I can see that.
that might be true, but actually this TA it is for the whole week, so their timing might be different some other day
No,
also.
I just saw a message like basic electronic circuit is there. It
Okay,
is
okay,
falling on the same time,
okay,
7 to 9 p.m. 1 hour anyway gone. I can't take it now. And there's
okay,
no course I have taken, the design technology and innovation is also falling same time.
okay, okay.
Same
So
time, same date.
Yeah, so no problem if such type of case happens. So you can attend any of the lectures, no problem. This will be on the YouTube channel, so there also you can see that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Thank you. Yes, yes.
Okay. So bye, all of you. We will meet on next Tuesday.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.